Hello, 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 everybody. Adelola Shakoya here. It's so good to be here. So this week we'll be looking at the market like we normally do and the effect of the Federal Reserve speech, Federal Reserve Chairman speech at the Jackson Hole on Friday. As you can see on my chart, I mean, this is the Friday candle that was formed after that speech. If you are in my community, my Telegram community, I'm probably on WhatsApp, you would have seen me. I've been talking about this for a while. Last week video, I think I made mention of it that uh, that speech is a major speech, and we actually saw the effect. Let's quickly look at what Google said about that effect and what Powell actually said on that day. That was on the 22nd. Is The Federal Chair Powell hints at potential rate cuts due to economic risks, and that was why you saw the dollar, plunge that fast. Now let's check the Fed Watch 2, the CME Fed Watch 2. I don't know why is it not loading. Let me refresh it. Give me 1 minute. So let's quickly check this. The Fed Watch is one of the websites. I mean, the most popular website that actually track what the Federal Reserve is going to do. Like I always mention on this channel, the dollar is is the currency of the world, and it's very important as a trader. Except you don't trade major instruments apart from currency, it affects practically everything. It affects uh, the dollar. Whatever happens to the dollar affects practically everything. Whether you trade stocks, whether you trade crypto, whether you trade currencies, whether you trade metals, and whether you trade commodity, you will see the effect. So I haven't said that. So, and that's why you see that the whole world are always looking out for what is the Federal Reserve going to do, so that everybody can, especially as a trader, so that you can prepare your mind, all right, going forward. However, if you look at before that day, before that actually speech, there was a lot of speculation whether there will be a cut or not. But after the speech, we saw the charts, went drastically up to 75%, which signified that on September 17, when that will be the next Federal Reserve meeting, FOMC meeting. Uh, I mean, it's after that speech is everybody is certain now, of course, that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rate, and because of that, and that's why we saw the effect on the chart. All right, the potential rate cuts due to economic risk. And on the Fed Watch 2, we can say that we are looking at a potential of having a 25 basis points reduction. So, the only difference we are going to be seeing right now is that we don't know if the Federal Reserve on that meeting on September 17, we are going to be seeing 50% basis, 50%, 50 basis points to be taken out from from the interest rate. That's the only difference. So if you see a 50% basis point, that means it's going to be more. We're going to see a bigger effect on the dollar crashing. All right, because everybody's projecting that we're going to see 25 basis point. So if you see a 50 basis point, that means we're going to see a huge effect on the chart. So let's quickly proceed the chart. So we saw that crash on Friday, like I mentioned, and then let's look at the effect on every other instrument on that day. So going forward, my projection for the dollar is to see a further push to the downside, probably this week when market open. We might see price bounce around there a little bit and create what is on a lower low, okay, towards pushing to the downside, probably to come test this place first. All right, and before we go further down. All right, depending on what happened on September 17. But I strongly believe that we're going to be having a lot of people. This movement would have been priced in before that September 17 because everybody's anticipating that rate cut. All right, and you see that the fact that everybody has been anticipating that rate cut has kept dollar uh, within this range between 102 and then 96 as price point between that range. All right. So let's see the effect on every other instrument. Let's check Bitcoin. On that day, we also saw Bitcoin, actually spike up from this support. All right, this was on Friday. I'm actually shooting this video today, Sunday 24th. So on Friday, we saw Bitcoin shoot up to the upside after that speech. If you go to the 4 hour time frame, you know that Bitcoin has been testing this support for some time. I think since on the 2nd of August, we came here first, and then we been bouncing around, throughout that week, which was last week, until after that speech. This is when we have this push up. So I expect Bitcoin to continue that uptrend. I jump on a buy that day, and I'm still in that buy position. As long as this support holds, I expect price to come, test this high. If we have a break of structure of this side, we push further to the upside. I'm expecting price to come test this zone, and then we'll push it the other side before price continue to the upside. All right. Now, one of the things you also want to understand is that immediately you have any currency, especially a major currency like the United States, that is going to be a reduction in interest rate. Every other risk assets like Bitcoin, actually push to the upside. All right. So I would say that the same thing happens to gold. Gold also took off from me. I think this was on Friday. It was bouncing off around the support as well. Although gold has not left this region, this range. We've been bouncing between this range since I think this was April. I mean, it's been months since price has been playing ping pong around this zone. It comes and tests support every other time, and so it's still within this range, even after that speech. So, however, like I mentioned earlier, what is going to really, really, everybody already knows that rate cut is coming on September 17th. But what everybody is looking forward to right now, as we proceed into the weeks before that day, is how many basis points will the reduction be? Is it going to be 25 basis point or 50 basis point? As you can see on the Fed Watch 2, what everybody's expecting is that we're going to be having a 25 basis point. But however, if you have a 50 basis point, which is going to be a big surprise to the market, we might see dollar crash real, more than more than we expect. All right. So going forward, let's check what currency has been. Let's check pounds USD and other major currency. Same thing happened to pounds USD. Price came here on Friday after that speech, and then we took off. So the way I will be playing pounds USD this week is to look for a pullback from this zone. If I see a very, very good pullback from this zone, I'll be looking forward to take a buy. All right. That's the first way, which is the best way. That means I'll be able to enter at a better price. All right. Another scenario is to wait for price to actually break out from this range. If I see a proper break of structure on this range, I see price do this. If I see price do this and then test, all right, then I'll be jumping on a buy at the test of the break of structure. So those are the two scenarios I'll be looking forward to as the week progresses. If you have not joined our Telegram group, there's a link below in the description. Ensure you do so. I always drop all these trade before they happen. I think we have card CHF last week, and one other instrument that I dropped last week, and they did very well. All right, so the same thing is, you're going to see with Euro USD after that Friday speech. This is what we have on 4 hour time frame. You can see this massive bullish candle. If you see the day on the daily time frame, you can see the same thing, that we have this massive bullish candle. If you go to the weekly time frame, same thing. Price came all the way, all through the week to this support at 1.15. And then immediately after that speech, although it's still within this range, like I mentioned, I'm going to be waiting for a pullback. If I see a proper pullback, into this zone, to this buy zone, or what I call as discount zone, to this zone. If I see price pull back to this zone, I'll be looking forward to see price build proper support before I jump on a buy. All right, so that I can enter the better price. This is the best way to anticipate what price we do. Like I always mention on this channel, we are not predicting price. We are only anticipating based on the data that we have on ground. We already know that the instrument is bullish. The instrument in question, that's Euro USD, based on what the dollar is doing and based on what the Federal Reserve said on Friday. So, however, you don't want to just jump on a trade because this particular instrument is bullish. What normally happens is that when you do that and you don't wait for proper structural build up, most time that's why you see somebody will jump on a trade, probably on a buy around the zone, and price will eventually take out their stop loss. Will take out their stop loss and then go in their direction. And then you will hear a lot of people say, and I actually buy because you can jump on a buy and still end up having your stop loss taken out. So, and I jump on the buy. The price actually went in my direction, but then he took me out before he did that. So that's why it's very important to wait for price to build up properly before you take a buy or a sell. Like I mentioned earlier, another scenario is to wait for price to take out this high, and then you wait for break and retest and jump on a buy. All right, those are the two scenarios I'll be looking forward to on on Euro USD. So however, let's check the JPY. We saw the same thing. Look at what USD JPY did on Friday. This is crazy. Price just plunged all the way to the on that Friday. If I in my Telegram group and WhatsApp community, you will notice that I already put out words in the morning. As a matter of fact, the trade that we are in on Thursday, which is the CADCHF, which was the last trade for the week that I was holding. I put out a word on Telegram. If you are there, you'll see it. And I said, close your trade though. Friday night, I was already out of all my trades. I was just sitting on my hands to see what will happen on that speech on Friday. As a trader, you have to be conversant with what is going on, around you, especially as touching the fundamentals and major news release. And like I always say on this channel, as traders, we like certainty. Traders like certainty, and that's why you see. I know a lot of my friends and they don't trade during the news. They only trade technicals, and I think in a way it helps you to save against unnecessary loss. All right. So and then we saw price just plunge all the way, after that speech. Although we are still sitting on the support. All right. So on Friday, on Monday during this week, I'll be waiting for what price will do. Probably my price pullback and then continue to the downside, and probably will take out the support. All right. Just the same way with the dollar pair. What I'll be waiting for is to see probably a good pullback before I sell off, or a proper break of structure of the support. If I see proper break of structure of the support, and I see price come back and test the support, I'll be looking for a selling opportunity. All right. If price, if you have market open and we saw price, break out from this support, that means I'll be waiting for price to pull back before I sell. All right. That's for USD JPY. Let's check pound JPY. Pound JPY is a little bit still holding on. Why? Because the code currency, which is the GBP, has been bullish. So price we didn't really see that effect on Friday. However, pound JPY, I'm still very bullish on pound JPY, as you can see. All right, still Steve. I think we took a look of on pound JPY on Sunday last week, right? So I'm still very, very bullish on pound JPY. We'll be waiting for price to take out this high before I start buying again. However, if I see price keeps, I keep seeing rejection on price around this zone, I'll be, looking for a selling opportunity around this area. why my stop loss is about above 200. All right, which is a round figure. I haven't said that. Let's quickly check. Lastly, I want to check. I want us to check NAS. That's one of the, that's that. I see, the way price also took off on Friday. Same thing on Friday that we have on every other instrument based on the dollar, based on that speech. All right, that's why, like I mentioned, if you are not, no matter what you trade, the dollar still is a major currency. I mean, it's the currency of the world. So I'll be calling. I'll be putting a stop to this video today. I don't want it to be too long. So, like I mentioned, if you have not subscribed to this channel, ensure you do so. And also, if you have not joined us on our free Telegram group where I drop trade signals, I'll be dropping the link somewhere around below in the description. Make sure you do so. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Have a beautiful, beautiful trading week. Thank you.